Hey there, 7th grade. This is Mrs. Locke here with you to do your video notes for stem and leaf plots and histograms. We don't always have to do sketch notes. Sometimes we have kind of a fill-in-the-blank notes that I found that I really like. And it saves us a little bit of time. You'll notice that this video will be quite a bit shorter than the last video. So let's jump right in. I just want to remind you that if I'm writing it, you need to write it. If I'm writing in gray, that is me representing pencil, which means I'm hoping that you will also write in gray. And if I write in color or if I color something, then it is required for you to do that as well. You just don't have to use the exact same colors that I'm going to use. But if I'm using color, I would request that you use color as well. So we're going to get right into this. Histograms, I think, is lesson 1.5, but you did it today. So if I'm wrong, if you're like, oh no, Mrs. Locke, I think you're wrong about that, trust yourself. Trust yourself, friends. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of color right up top because they did this banner interesting today. Usually the banners have like a straight line that goes across, but this time they made the banner. Let me see if this is too fat. Nope, it's not. This time they made the banner like a little tree. I think it's to celebrate stem and leaf, you know, stems and leaves and branches and such. So I'm going to just give that a little bit of color here. I also want to remind you that you can feel free to pause this whenever you deem it necessary to catch up to me or to fill in any extra notes that you think you might need to. All right, so we have quickly talked about stem and leaf plots and histograms. So let's look at stem and leaf plots first. It says a stem and leaf plot is a way to display blank data. This is specific to stem and leaf plots. They use numerical data. So I'm going to write numerical. Numerical data. Each data value consists of a stem and a leaf. So if we had a 2 here and a 5 here, that would mean the number 25. All right. Sometimes you can see, you see it like this with multiple numbers. And that means that there are 3 pieces of data that all start with the number 3. And one of the data is 36, another one is 37, and another one is 37. So that's what that would mean. So what we're going to do real quick is we are going to build a stem and leaf plot on here. So we're going to have our stems over here and our leaves over here, although I'm going to write the word leaf. So what's interesting about this is that you kind of have to put some things in order here. I'm going to notice how many numbers are in my 20s, and I want to put those first, but I also want to put them in numerical order. So I'm going to put my 2 for 20 here, but I've got a 1, a 3, a 5, another 5, and a 9. I do tend to do mine in this way. I like to notate, I like to keep track of which numbers I've used and which numbers I haven't. So I'm going to circle my 30s next. My stem is going to be a 3 here. So I'm going to put my 3, and then my first leaf is a 0. My second leaf is a 2, and my last leaf is a 3. And then what's left is a 44. My stem is a 4, and my leaf is also a 4. So our key then is that a 2 separated from a 1 means 21. And I know that it can seem a little silly to have the key, but the reason that you want to have that key is that sometimes you have more than one digit there. Or what could happen is that this isn't a ones place, it's a decimal. So maybe this is 4.4. That's why you have to be sure to designate what your numbers actually mean, because you could use a stem and leaf plot to show different place values, even decimals. I mean, it could even be like 0.04, and then this goes behind that. So you want to make sure and put a key. It's really helpful. So that is the review for stem and leaf plot. Let's move over to histogram. Now, a histogram should have been like a discussion where you're really comparing them to bar graphs. Bar graphs are interesting because they use categories across the x-axis, and a histogram is a type of bar graph, which is why they're so similar. It's a type of bar graph whose bars represent the frequencies of numeric data within intervals. And your text today, if I recall correctly, your text today referred to those as bins. And that was the width of a bar was referred to as a bin. It says, Jane counts the number of ducks she sees at the lake every morning for 12 days. And here is her data. 7, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6, 3, 10, 1, 7, 9, 8, 7, 2, 3, 1, 2. No, that's just me repeating now. I think I could make it all into a song though. All right, so let's say that we wanted to split our data into 3 bins. We could do 1 to 4, we could do 5 to 8, and then we could do 9 to 12. So this would be bin 1, bin 2, and bin 3. All right, and what those refer to are the bars at the bottom. So this bar would represent bin 1, this bar would represent bin 2, and this bar would represent bin 3. The difference in a bar graph is that, or the difference in a histogram is that bin 1 represents 1 to 4, bin 2 represents 5 to 8, and bin 3 represents 9 to 12. So they kind of have multiple sets of numbers instead of categories across the bottom. All right, so how many were between 1 and 4? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was 6 of them. Between 5 and 8, you got 1, 2, no. Oh, yeah, 3, 4. And between 9 and 12, we only had 2. So I'm really going to do, let me see. I mean, I could just count by 2s. 2, 4, 6. Since that represents the frequency. Bin 1 had 6 pieces of data. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that bar up to 6 and shade it in a little bit. Ooh, I might switch my color for this just to make it fancy. Bin 2, 5 to 8, there was 4 pieces of data. So I'm going to bring that out and shade that in. And then bin 3, 9 to 12, there was 2 pieces of data. So I'm going to look at this too. I'm going to kind of imagine it coming across there. And then I'm going to shade it in. All right, so the main idea of a histogram is that a histogram uses two sets of numerical data. And the numerical data that goes across the x-axis is a set of numbers referred to as bins. We don't usually write the word bin 1, bin 2, bin 3, but I think that for me, when I was learning histograms, that was kind of a hard thing to remember. So I'm just trying to help you out there. These are your notes. I hope today went okay and that you enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.